Hello, namaste, and welcome to the another episode of NEPTALKS powered by Nepcoms Services. I am Irina Shrestha, and here we bring inspiring stories and global perspective to our audience and students. Today, we will be talking about the real experience for students in Australia, academics, lifestyle, and career outcomes. And we have our guest, Chief Global Engagement and Partnership at Excelsia University College, Australia, and a music lover who has been contributing to Nepali music and promoting local artists, Mr. Bobby Abram.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for coming, sir. Aina. So, firstly, I would like to ask to be in your position where you are right now, what it took you as an adult Bobby Abram to be here today.
Well, it's a very long story. I'm not sure if your podcast will have enough time to cover that. But what I will say is there are a lot of experiences that we have over a period of time from the time you finish your studies that helps you form a personality that requires to be in a role that I am right now. I've been very fortunate, I should say. It's a great blessing from God that I am in a position where I am. I have learned a lot along the way, and undoubtedly, the foundation of my growth in the role that I am right now, I must give credit to the education that I've had. Okay, it all comes down to the quality education that I've had when I was, in my hometown in India, and my journey in Australia over the last 20 plus years, and what I've learned in Australia. So it's a combination of many factors.
Uh-huh. So, you studied in Australia as well.
I did not study in Australia. I did my engineering and my master's in India,
Okay.
and that helped me go to Australia about 20 odd years ago.
Uh-huh. So you started working there as an international student. So how was it?
I've not worked as an international student. I was fortunate enough to be in Australia on a different kind of a visa, but the difference that I had when I went there was the lack of local experience, and which is something many international students, or for that matter, all the migrants will have to face, because we have not had the experience of working in Australia. There is always a tendency of the employers to look for people who have local experience, and so there was some kind of a disadvantage, and I had to start my career from the beginning, so to say. But with our education, with our experience, and our hard work and our commitment, it helps us grow. So you go step by step over a period of time, you learn and you grow in your career. I've been very fortunate to be in a position where I am right now with Excelsia University College. And as I've said, it is nothing but a blessing.
Okay, so talking about you promoting Nepali music and you loving Nepali music, I have heard about some of your deeds. So, can you say something about that?
Music is something that I'm sure everyone enjoys.
Yeah, I
This
love
is not,
music.
yes, so this is not something that we have to force a person to enjoy. Everyone has got a taste of music. We all have a very busy life. We have, we have our work and studies and responsibilities at home, and so on and so forth. But at times when you want to have your me time, you sit down and you want to listen to music, right? And so music becomes a therapy. Around the world right now, music is in fact used as a therapy to help students or kids or adults or others who are struggling, as a way to improve their quality of life. And so music is always embedded in one's life, so to say. So it's and I'm one of them who maybe have a little more than what others may have. That's all I can say. But having said that, and having had some experience in music in my uni days, Nepal is something that I feel is very raw, very authentic, and very, very musical. You know, I may be wrong here when I say this, because coming from India in my early days, we used to have very raw, authentic music. It was all rock music that we used to do. But over a period of time, the culture of music has changed more to DJ and that kind of stuff, which in Nepal, fortunately, is not crept in yet. There are one or two there, but mostly in Nepal, you see around, you go to Tamil area or anywhere around in Nepal or different cities, you see real authentic music. And that is what fascinates me about Nepal and the music. And I have been really fortunate to be associated with good musicians, and good music schools, and that has helped me us, grow and better understand the music culture here in Nepal. I work very closely with good. I don't want to name the bands, but I work very closely with them. I have made some very good friends, and what we have seen is more students engaging in studying music,
Okay.
right? And that helps us grow. The difference between the Western music and the Nepal music is there are not many Nepali students who are or musicians who are actually trained musicians. They are musicians naturally they are musicians,
By
right?
heart.
By heart they're musicians, and you look at it, you go around, talk to these students, they use YouTube as a means to learn music, and they just follow that pattern and they improve their music. The proper music education is something that we found was lacking, and we brought that knowledge into the Nepal culture. And for the last 8 years, we have been doing music auditions in Nepal, different cities. We work in Dharan. Some of those big names are involved in promotion of that. And so what we see now is more students who are trained musicians and are actually involved in music production after that. A very popular movie that was recently, I'm sure it has broken many records now.
Nepali or Indian?
It's an Indian movie, Dhuranda.
Oh.
The music for that movie was actually given by a Nepali student, and he is our student. And that is what it is all about. It takes a lot of pride for us to say that, but it is a commitment of that particular individual.
But only few people think about it. Like, how did you crack it? Like, how did you see the career potential in music?
Well, first of all, you have to love music. That's the start of it. And so I joined Excelsia in 2016, and I tried my best to engage with potential partners to promote music, and to be fair and to be honest for them, it's difficult for anyone to understand the potential of a music student, because the rationale for students are very different. And it's also unfortunate that most of these students are not well supported by their families, because the moment you go and say, I want to study music, the family support may not be there. And so we had to start with the process of educating the family members, the students, of course, and show them the potential of being a musician. Talk to famous musicians that are here now. I'm not trying to throw names here, but someone who has been a very big support for us, Mr. Swapnil Sharma. He has really helped us grow the music courses here in Nepal, and that has really helped us, better educate the students. And now we see more and more students coming to us. Every time we do an audition, we are surprised with the number of students who want to be musicians. We just a few months ago, I think in November last year, we did auditions in Dhara for the first time, and we had a wonderful turnout. We have a faculty of music who comes down and talks about it, and of course the Australian High Embassy also supports us, in what we are trying to do. So it's a very good combination.
So talking about everything, but besides that, were you a lead guitarist or a drummer or a singer?
I
And
am.
then-
I am. I cannot claim for either of that.
Okay.
I've played bits and pieces here and there.
Uh,
But in my uni days, we used to have a choir,
hmm.
and I used to be part of a choir where I was a bass singer.
Okay.
So that is, in my uni days, reflecting back quite a few years back.
Uh-huh.
But we played, these are the kind of things that we all do, I should say. Not to claim credit for anything, as in
Uh-huh.
we're all learners.
Yeah. Okay. So diving into our topic, when international students arrive to Australia, like what differences they get according to academic side and then culturally, what differences they get?
There are a number of differences,
Mm-hmm.
academically and culturally.
Uh-huh.
Academically, we in Nepal, so to say, even in the subcontinent, on a bigger perspective, we have a different culture that we have when we are going to a university or a college or a school, where we are told to listen to the educator. So educator is telling us, and we are taking notes, and there is probably very less engagement as well in an environment like this. But in Australia, students are expected to engage. The way we teach in universities is very different to how you would expect here in Nepal. So typically a teaching model in Australia for a university student is 1 hour lecture and 2 hour tutorial, right? So you have a 3 hour lecture. It's a 3 hour study for a particular unit per week. So you have 1 hour lecture and 3 hour tutorial. The lecture generally is online, so where the student can listen to the lecture whenever they want, but they are expected to be prepared and attend the tutorial after listening to the lecture. So self-learning is very important. You're self-engaged with the lecture, and tutorial is a time for you to ask questions about what you have heard in the lecture to better understand the concepts that are taught in a lecture. So that is the first and biggest and most important part of it. Students take time to learn that element. The other part of this Australian study education system is also how we do assessments and how we do assignments. Where are the emphasis for students to understand how they evaluate themselves at the end of each semester. Here you may have exams. You have at the end of each semester you may have an exam that will probably you'll spend day and night. A few days before your exams, you'll sit and study and you'll try to pass that. But in Australia, you have assignments and assessments that are given periodically over a few weeks.
So for this tutorial session, do we have to do students have to go to the university or they can?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to be. They have to be in person in a classroom, talking to the lecturer, who will explain to you what the lecture was about, and that is where you better understand. So self-learning and self-engagement, engagement with the lecturer is very important as part of your assessment. So when you are coming to Australia, we are looking at the assignments, the assessments, but also your class interaction.
Okay.
How much are you interacting with the lecturer? That shows your effort in understanding the concepts that are taught in a lecture. So that is a very big shift or change in the manner of learning in Nepal compared to Australia.
Because here attendance matters, but what we do is here is rote learning still. Like teachers say, we write, as you said. Students just focus on getting extra marks from attendance, but I don't think more effective things are happening.
Yeah, every society has built its own way of teaching and learning. Right? So it has got its benefits and it has got its it may have its cons as well. And so it may be for Australia as well. Some people, critic may say something different about Australia. Nonetheless, we have to understand that every teaching and learning, in the end result of that is to make sure your students are able to understand and are better equipped with the knowledge and the skill that they require in their occupation. That is your end result, right? So the way you teach may be different. I'll give you an example. I mean, earlier on when you asked me what I did in Australia, I having finished my studies and I've gone to Australia, I taught for about 8 years.
Okay.
So I taught mathematics, I taught project management, I taught engineering materials for about 8 years at an institution in Australia, and that helped me understand, for myself, to understand how to teach,
Okay.
right? Because I'm coming from a system where I have just learned what they have been told, what they're telling me.
Yeah.
But now I am learning how to engage myself with my students in a way that I'm better able to help them understand. So that experience of me teaching helped me better understand how teaching and learning is actually different in Australia. And that is a big shift. And we at our orientations, we tell our students, we explain to our students what to expect in a classroom. Culturally also, it is very different, in Nepal, we may call a teacher, we will never call him or her by name.
No, we don't.
We never do that.
We never do
But
that.
in Australia, you always call them by name. We don't call sirs and madams.
Okay.
We always call them by name. And so that the challenge is to encourage a student to call them by their name, because they are by default taught to call them sirs or madams. And so those little things, I would say, are quite different to how we do in Australia.
Okay. So, what kind of academic systems are available if students struggle in their first semester, be it a language barrier or anything financially?
Yes, so there are a number of systems that are put in place as a support services for every international student and across all the universities and in Excelsia University College, in a way that we are able to first identify, right? Now, if I am sitting in a classroom, if I am not able to understand what my lecturer is telling me, teaching me, the lecturer wouldn't know that until I am articulating that to the lecturer or I seek help. So first, it is very important that the students are taught that they must seek help. Now, seeking help is one way. Lecturers can also identify, but not all the time. In instances where a lecturer will identify, the lecturer will tell them about the support services. Otherwise, the students will seek support services. Now, the question is, what are those support services? Okay, we split them in a couple of areas. One is academic support. So the academic support generally aligns with your English language proficiency. Now, you may have a very good English language proficiency test score. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are able to articulate your thoughts and your ideas better in a way that you should, or express in a way you should. And so English language proficiency is provided in most of the universities, including Excelsia, for free. So you can seek English language proficiency support, and there are lecturers who will support them, which is what we call academic skill support. You can also seek we can also seek counseling support. The students may not have the academic, they may be fine with their academic requirements, but they may struggle to settle in a new location. They are away from their families, they're away from their friends, they're used to a certain lifestyle here in Nepal, and suddenly you have a different lifestyle in Nepal. In Australia, it is quite different. Everything, the shops, say for example, will close off by 6 p.m. Most of the shops are closed. Most of the restaurants are closed by 7:30, 8 o'clock, maybe maximum, other than on Thursdays in Sydney. And so there is a student may struggle missing their families, or missing their friends, or having that kind of homesickness, as you would say. So counseling skills, counseling support is also something that we provide to our students. So there are support services that are provided to us: English language, academic support, counseling services, and there is always a student support service that is always available.
So how does a week look like for any international student in Australia? Like, as you said that the shops will be closed in 6 p.m., right?
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very surprising that we don't know about that, because we go to shops at 10 p.m. at night, and we do anything here.
Yeah.
But how's the system there? How's a system actually?
See, for a student, the primary focus is studies. right? You have limited hours a week or in a day. You have unis to attend, you have classes to attend. So typically, you're looking at about 12 hours of face-to-face classes. Then you're looking at about 25 to 40 hours of study that you have to do self-study. So that is a typical academic requirement. Around that, students will want to work.
Yeah, talking about part-time jobs.
There will be part-time jobs, sorry. There will be part-time jobs that they will have to do. So looking for jobs. Once you get a job, travel from one location to the other. And because you do not have the kind of support service that you have in Australia, you have to cook for yourself, you have to clean for yourself, you have to wash for yourself. You have to do all those household chores that you are required to do for yourself. And also work, study. So you are cramming up, I would say, a lot of things in a week, just so that you are able to have a better work-life balance. It is important that students prepare for it as well.
Okay. So how many hours do students get to work part-time job?
An international student is allowed to work 20 hours, 24 hours per week. It's about 48 hours a fortnight, if I'm not wrong. And that typically is how many hours a week the student will work. So a student will probably sleep for about 6 to 8 hours, study for about 4 to 5 hours, sleep, study, travel, work. Right? And so that basically is how a student will look for in a day, and that translates into a week. Meeting friends, altering cultural events, traveling around, a lot of places for sightseeing. So those activities also occurs all during the week. But the primary focus of a student is, of course, to study.
Yeah. So talking about mental health, how universities in Australia actually support mental health and well-being of a student?
See, this is a very important question. And many a times when students are preparing themselves to go to Australia or to any overseas study destination, they don't prepare themselves for that. Right? Typically, a Nepali student preparing themselves to go, once the visa is granted, it's all happy, families are coming, friends are coming, sweets are being distributed, and all through the week leading up to the flight, they're all happy, and then you have that process where you have the tika and stuff, and then you send them off, and send them off to the airport. And when a student sits on that flight alone, is when the reality hits that now I am on my own, right? And so it is very important that the student prepares for that moment. They must be made aware of it, and they must prepare for it from the very beginning, not just after a visa is granted. From the time they decide to study at a study destination, they must prepare themselves. How am I going to prepare myself? It's a very important question. How? First of all, language, right? No matter where you go, it is the language that helps you do what you are required to do in a country that you have chosen to go. And then you look at the support services, where you have friends, you have family, identify them, connect with them, and see what you must know about a location that you are going. What are the places I must do? What are the things I must do before I come? What are the things I must do when I reach there? What places I must avoid, and so on and so forth. So preparing yourself at that moment, and when you sit on that flight, either you are confident of where you are going, or you are confused of where you are going. Right? Generally, students who are confused about it, who have not done their homework, and do not know what to do when they reach there, are the ones who are generally tend to feel that they are going to have mental health issues. Right? And so every university, including Excelsia University College, undoubtedly, we have prepared ourselves to face students who have those problems. Now, we may not be able to help them in all the ways that they want, right? But we can lead them into certain locations where they will be able to find the next help. Now, mental health in itself. What is the cause of mental health? Most definitely, homesickness.
And pressure, I think.
Pressure, and suddenly you are thrown. You feel that you are out of your depth in what you are required to be doing, and that sometimes causes the stress and the anxiety.
Yeah, because students expect themselves to help them financially, academic wise, and everything. So
Yes.
that might be a huge pressure for them.
And it is so very important for these students to make sure they attend the orientation. At the orientation of every university, including us, we tell our students, we make sure that they are aware of all the support services that we provide for them. At Excelsia, I can say very confidently, we provide free counseling services. We are specialized in mental health, trauma, grief, loss. That is, in fact, a course that we teach in Master of Counseling. So we have graduates of counselors who are in the process of graduating who will help our existing students for free
Okay,
in providing counseling services. So we make them aware of our students at the orientation. We tell our students, we show them how to reach out to them, and this is all confidential. There's a social stigma linked to mental health and stigma around what if I seek help, what if that. In Australia, this is all very confidential. If you go and seek, it is between you and the counselor. It is never even told to externally to anyone unless the student consents for it to be shared.
Okay.
So there is a lot of opportunity for students to seek help. But time again I say this, I cannot identify, or people around them cannot identify. Student needs to seek and search for it, and we are there to support them.
So what makes students stand out from everyone in Australia if they study in Australia?
There are various things, I would say. It's a combination of, again, different factors that helps a student stand out. Australia is very unique because in Australia, students are allowed to work while they are studying. As I said earlier on when I spoke about when I first went to Australia, when I was looking for a job, and they would say, I do not have local experience. While studying, but that is something that I did not have the opportunity. But for students, while they are studying, they're able to work. And students are able to gain confidence from the interactions that they have in their workplaces. They understand what and how you should work in Australia. Add to that, your course and your studies that you are doing, or the courses that you are studying, also has got work integrated learning. And so students have the opportunity to learn, gain experience, and be ready for a job as soon as they finish their courses. And this work integrated learning is there in all our courses, be it early childhood, be it social work, be it teaching primary. All these courses, teaching second, all these courses have got work integrated learning. So students are exposed to a work environment that enables them to gain skills and also understand how the Australian workplaces operate. Okay? That is a very important factor for our students.
So one piece of advice for students that are planning to go and study in Australia, what would you like to say?
See, this is one answer that I have been very consistently saying for the last 10 to 15 years since I've been here. It starts with research. You must research what you're going to study, where you're going to study, and why you're going to study. Right? Once you identify that, and then you must prepare yourself. Like I said earlier, make sure you prepare yourself for a lifestyle that is there in Australia. For you to do that, you must know what is the world lifestyle. And this talk, perhaps, gives them as an eye-opener for them to understand what to expect in Australia. Right? And so this opportunity, people who listen to this and your students who listen to this, is an opportunity for them to understand they must do research. They must know what course they are going to study. They must know what they are going to study, what is the difference of what they're studying here to the other locations, and that helps them stand out. Even with the High Commission, when they're looking at how much research have you done for what you're studying. And when they're sitting on that plane, on that seat in the plane alone, they are confident. Right? That is my piece of advice. There is nothing that can replace research in any student when they are going to study in an overseas study destination.
Thank you so much, Bobby. Sir, can I say you sir or not? Because
feel free.
I think I should adapt a little bit of Australian culture. So thank you so much, Bobby, for such an insightful session. And I hope our audience and students have so much to learn, eye-opening things to grab from this episode. But before we end this session, I'd like to give you one token of love from our side.
Sure. Thank you so much. I must also say, and the kind of questions that I've had are very different to I've had in the past. Very focused on students, and that in itself is very, I'm sure, should be well received. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you
for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So thank you so much everyone for watching us. Keep watching, keep supporting, and we will be back with another important, insightful episode next time. See you soon.